Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. A delight, as always, to have with us in the studio Robin Fuller. She's the Executive Director of the Grants Pass Pregnancy Center, and we're here to talk about your big annual event, which is coming up.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good morning, Perry. I'm good.
Good to see you. You're a special guest speaker. I had a chance to talk to him, but tell our audience about him.
Well, Ryan Bomberger, he runs the Radiance Foundation and is just going to be a delight.
He is terrific. His story is phenomenal. And we're going to give you a lot of details about the upcoming event. But I did have a chance earlier to sit down with Ryan, and his story is one that you're not going to want to miss. Now, it was hard to do this interview, Robin, because I wanted him to tell a story, but not to the point where they wouldn't come to your event. So anyway, join me now as we talk to Ryan. Well, what a delight to have with us today Ryan Bomberger. He is an Emmy Award-winning creative professional, a citizen journalist, he calls himself, co-founder of a terrific organization entitled the Radiance Foundation, a life-affirming organization based on the belief that every human life has beautiful possibility. His own story is fascinating. And Ryan is coming to Southern Oregon for the upcoming Grants Pass Pregnancy Center Gala event, and it's scheduled for October 22nd through the 24th. Ryan, good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
I am doing great, loving life. How about you?
Likewise. Your story, a fascinating story. Tell us your story.
Well, you know, it started with the love of my parents, who had 3 biologically related children, but always had a heart for adoption even before they got married. And so they chose me. I'm basically the 1% that is used to justify 100% of all abortions. And so not exactly the easiest case, a transracial adoptive situation too, and yet they chose to love me despite the fact that I was conceived in rape. And so my birth mom had the courage to go through 9 months of pregnancy, made a loving plan of adoption, ended up growing up in a not so small family of 15, 6 brothers, 6 sisters. 10 of us were adopted, and every single one of us were adopted and loved, just shattering that myth of the unwanted child. So those were my early beginnings, and it's why I'm so passionate about the life issue today as an adoptive father. I have 4 little munchkins myself, 2 of which are adopted.
Wow, what a great story. Did you have a relationship with your mom?
My birth mom, I've never met her. So I was adopted at 6 weeks of age, and I did search for her, but unfortunately we're not able to locate her. Wow. I don't even know. There's a song that I wrote for her called Meant to Be, and it really would be the only conversation that I would have to have with her. And it's just a song of thanks and just incredible gratitude. But at this point, I've never actually met my biological mother. I still believe one day, maybe one of my events, I travel around the world, so maybe she will show up at one of those events. That would be an amazing, amazing time. I will be ugly crying if I actually meet her face to face.
We will join you in that prayer. So how did you find out that you were a product of rape?
Pretty early on. I mean, my parents explained it. However, my mom didn't understand that I didn't understand as a young child what that meant. So it wasn't until the age of 13. I mean, I always knew that I was adopted. I mean, I'm half white, half black. My parents are white. You know, I've got Native American, Vietnamese, all kinds of mixture in our family. So we knew that obviously there was adoption going on. But the specific story I didn't know until I was 13. And that was kind of devastating to have your whole 13 years of life rewritten. And had I not been loved like crazy by my parents, I would have fallen apart. Because teenage years aren't exactly the easiest years of somebody's life. So throw that little curveball, oh, by the way. So it was kind of a devastating moment. But being loved by my parents and having this foundation of faith allowed it not to just disintegrate, because it easily could have.
What a story to learn that out, especially at early adolescence. Wow. Tell us about your coming to faith.
That was also around the same time. I mean, I grew up in a Christian home, so I grew up with parents who just passionately love God, and out of that passion for God, they love people. They're really servants. They really love to serve others and to do it anonymously. So that's really been part of my DNA from day one. But to have made a very personal commitment, that happened at the age of 13 as well, at a camp, youth camp, and I was challenging God on all kinds of levels and made a challenge to God and you find out that when you do challenge God, he's pretty easily able to meet that challenge. And it really was that particular youth group retreat where I truly gave my heart to the Lord. But I kept making a lot of bad decisions following that led me down a path of self-destruction throughout most of my 20s. But God's a God of restoration, and I never let go of that. So 13 was that definitive moment, but it took a number of times through my 20s to actually get things right.
Tell us about Radiance Foundation. What is it?
The Radiance Foundation is a nonprofit organization that my wife Bethany and I, my amazing wife Bethany, and I started back in 2009. She's a teacher by profession. I'm a creative agitator by profession. And so we wanted to combine these skills to actually tackle some really tough social issues, the comfortable ones like abortion, to talk about family stability, talk about poverty, talk about civil rights, or at least the true civil rights timeline, all issues that really in the context of God-given purpose, so it allows us a wide latitude of issues to address. And we do that through ad campaigns, billboard, social media campaigns. We do that through our multimedia presentations that we share around the world, and through our direct community outreaches, like our Sally's Lambs outreach, that is an outreach to birth moms who choose adoption over abortion. And so we've been running this nonprofit since 2009, and God has opened up just a ridiculous amount of opportunities for us to be able to illuminate the truth and to love people and to show that true love really has at its heart the illumination of truth, because we know ultimately in the spiritual sense it sets us free.
Let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to the radiancefoundation.org. That's the website, theradiancefoundation.org, and connect with Ryan there. What's your message when you come to Grants Pass?
It's really about the beauty of possibility. There are so many times when the world wants to write off people's lives and say they'll never amount to this, or you can't overcome your circumstances. And really, that's the theme. When it comes down to planned pregnancy, the world and the abortion industry in particular often tell women who are really resilient beings, probably the most resilient, resourceful beings on the planet, but tells them that you can't overcome, and that the only possible outcome to something that is unplanned is going to be misery, and therefore just aborted. And so we're coming with a message of hope, and to talk about the beauty of possibility, the beauty of things that happen when you embrace life. And having lived through that, being the tangible example as an adoptee, having seen 9 other siblings love like crazy, and to see them defy all the expectations of those around them, it's a deeply personal thing for me. And I love being able to talk about that. And so I'm excited that for 3 nights in a row, I get to share that particular message, the beauty of possibility, which is just, I feel like it's my life, and it's all because of God's grace.
Ryan, tell us, I know you're passionate about the option of adoption. Talk a little bit on that. Maybe somebody is considering an abortion, and you would like them to consider the option of adoption.
Yes, and for those who are abortion vulnerable, it's really a shame that many of them don't ever even get the information about the option of adoption. I mean, there are only 2 life-affirming options: either parenting or what I consider is another parenting choice, and that is the loving plan of adoption. We actually created an ad series along with Bethany Christian Services and Real Options Pregnancy Medical Clinics, and the tagline of these TV ads was "Turn the unplanned into a loving plan." And that's really what we want to get across to young women and birth parents, because usually it's the woman who's making that decision. Unfortunately, we have a culture here of such incredible abandonment. But we do reach out to women and men and let them know, look, there's this powerful option of adoption to where you have the choice. You can have a closed adoption, you can have an open adoption, you can have a semi-open adoption, and you get to set those parameters with the adoptive family and continue to have a relationship with your child. And so we try to educate the public on that. We have a great initiative called adoptedandloved.com that has phenomenal resources. It has videos from adoptees like me who are sharing what is really the typical experience of adoption, that is positive and loving experience. Those typify the adoption experience. So we share this information. We talk about adoption out of the foster care system, that every human life is precious, not just adopting newborns, but adopting teenagers, A number of my siblings were adopted out of the foster care system, and they're just as precious as a newborn child. And so we really do cover the whole spectrum of adoption and teach people where to find more resources in their local areas and to dispel a lot of the misconceptions about adoption, because there are a lot, especially in the church. There's still, adoption is the essence of salvation. So it shouldn't be second nature. It really should be first nature to Christians, to understanding the power and the beauty of adoption.
It's so beautifully said. Let me squeeze your heart for a moment. Going back to when you were 13 and you were told how you came into this world, when did the reality that your life was spared by God, when did it really impact you?
Well, the reality that my life was spared, I think I felt from a really young age to be loved and to know that you're loved by parents, to know that they're visually. My mom said I was always very perceptive, probably overly perceptive of the difference between our pigmentation. But I knew that I was loved. And I would say from an early age, I felt that impact. But to find out at 13, I still remember what that felt like to just cry. From your soul. I remember looking in the mirror and thinking, how could that be? How could I? You're talking about something so horrible and so violent, and that's how I came into this world. But God has a way of, He has a way of transforming. He can make triumph rise out of any tragedy. And I realized that because just months after finding that out, I had a persuasion speech. I went to public school, persuasion speech in 8th grade, and I was able to learn just how powerfully my own story was as I saw my fellow students reacting to it, and I watched them cry as I shared my own story, and I realized, wow, there's power in this story. There's power in this testimony, even at the age of 13. And I realized that those words can really bring transformation in other people's lives. And so I realized I can't be silent about it, and I can't be ashamed about it. There was really nothing to be ashamed about. God had already transformed and turned something so horrific into something that could be beautiful and transformative.
Book for you in the future?
Oh, I've been working on a book for years. It will be finished this year. I hope and pray this year, finally. We do a lot of travel. We travel probably about 50 times a year, a lot of times with my family, because it is a family ministry. But we're hoping that those words in that last chapter can be finished in 2015. We'll see.
One other thing, too, it's such a powerful part of your story is your loving parents. Boy, and I know that you're trying to convey that, and you and your wife are showing that in your own life and your own parenting. But the love of your mom and dad, your adoptive mom and dad, that just made the whole difference. God actually used them to settle you down.
My parents, Henry and Andrea Bomberger, are two of the most amazing human beings on this planet. They are selfless. They are loving. They are divinely patient, because if you have 13 kids, you better have a little divine patience in you. But they loved us all, and they had to figure out, because we all came from very different backgrounds, they had to figure us out. And just like you do with any child, but when you're talking about 10 adopted children, all those circumstances, and still loving unconditionally all the things. Some of my siblings came from very abusive backgrounds. Some were adopted as teenagers, some, at the age of 6 and 7, and in my case, as newborn. But my parents really, they understand God's love. They understand His enduring love, His devotion and faithfulness. And they exuded that. They continue to exude that. That's really who they are. People, I think sometimes when they meet them, they expect these huge people, these towering people, and they're just short little people. But they are just so full of incredible love, unconditional love, and grace and forgiveness. I just hope I can be a portion of who they are.
Ryan, you're an inspiration and a delight. Thank you. We look forward to you being here on the 22nd through the 24th at the Grants Pass Pregnancy Center Gala. He'll be the featured speaker. Thank you, my friend. Keep up the good work. And let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to theRadianceFoundation.org and keep track of what he's doing and get involved in what he's doing. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you, too. Take care.
Okay, and he will be coming to town shortly. to speak at Robin Fuller's event. We'll talk to Robin coming up next when we come back.
Hi, I'm Paulina and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.